So going back to Dark Phoenix for a minute, this was something on the Watch Mojo channel. I don't know if it had any other coverage than that, but it was.
Well, this was actually on Looper. Actually,
Looper. Okay, I confuse all those because
I've explicitly blocked Watch Mojo from actually showing me anything. So,
Looper watch top.
I'm sure they
top 10 things I didn't care about. They all do it.
Yeah, but Looper's not great either. But I think it's at least a step above Watch Mojo.
Yeah, so this was posted at the end of January, saying that Dark Phoenix was not doing well in test screenings, even after they went back and did reshoots, right. Which might explain why it's been delayed so many times.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that's shocking in the slightest. So, look, based on what the initial things we've seen about it, the fact that it has been pushed back multiple times, the fact that it has gone through multiple rounds of reshoots, the fact that they've adapted this storyline before and it didn't work the first time, these should all be red flags, you know? Beyond that, I think the thing that people aren't calling out as much, Sophie Turner is just a terrible Jean Grey. Like, I don't even understand why they're like centering a movie around her when she was one of the worst things about X-Men Apocalypse.
Yeah, well, I mean, what would make a good Jean Grey? Is Jean Grey even a good character? I don't even know that she does have much of a character to begin with. Yeah,
I mean, I guess it's arguable. Remind me, who played her in the original trilogy?
Famke Janssen.
Famke Janssen. Did I say that right?
Yeah.
Well, she was a good Jean Grey. I loved her portrayal of the character. And part of that is because there was a complexity there. Even if you're not a fan of The Last Stand, it was an interesting arc. You know, obviously that was not the best example of a good X-Men movie.
That's what I want to know. Why are they doing the same plot as the worst X-Men movie?
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't say it's the worst. X-Men Origins Wolverine is probably the worst.
Nah,
I mean, you'd have to agree with me there, right?
But no, X-Men Origins Wolverine didn't really disappoint me like 3 did. Because in 3 you have Professor X and Cyclops both dead. How did you do that? The leaders of the X-Men.
Well,
why?
No, well, yeah, Cyclops. I thought you said Magneto for some reason. I was thinking, no, he was alive, just unpowered. I mean, my big problem with Last Stand was really just, it really came down to Brett Ratner's direction. It sort of losing any depth that the first two had and just becoming a sort of generic action flick. No, my problem with X-Men Origins Wolverine was, like, there were good scenes in it, but, it was heavily reliant on CG. Parts of the character just felt wrong. Like, the timeline didn't really make sense all too much.
They did kind of screw up parts of his origin, but I just chalked it up to adaptation problems.
Yeah, so I mean, that's part of the reason why I love Days of Future Past. Why, aside from the Deadpool movies, it's probably my favorite X-Men movie.
Yeah, because it just undid everything.
Well, yeah, but it did it in a way that actually made sense. It felt natural rather than like just a shoehorned in retcon, you know? But yeah, no, I think the reason behind the actual creation of Dark Phoenix is because it's considered to be one of the greatest X-Men storylines of all time, as was Days of Future Past, as was Old Man Logan, as was, I'm sure there's something I'm forgetting. Oh, Apocalypse is considered to be like one of their biggest villains. So it makes sense that they're trying to incorporate the bigger storylines into the whole thing.
The thing is, I wonder if they're going to talk at all about the Phoenix Force, which is some kind of cosmic entity thing that has this whole backstory to it, but they'd have to get into almost Guardians of the Galaxy territory to really flesh that out.
Yeah, no, that's going to be tough to develop over the course of one movie.
And they won't, because Marvel's already going to reboot it all anyway, so it's like, why even see?
I mean, we don't necessarily, at this point, we don't necessarily know what they're going to do with the X-Men. I have to assume they're going to incorporate them in some way.
Yeah, they're going to recast everyone. That's a done deal.
Yeah, I mean, probably not Deadpool, but I feel like Ryan Reynolds is the one guy we know is going to be safe throughout that whole process.
Hopefully.
Well, I mean, realistically, he's so intertwined with the character, and he's so like universally adored, and both Deadpool movies were like major blockbuster golds. Like, it'd be an incredibly stupid decision of Disney to do it. Not that they're like, not that they're against stupid decisions, but
I did hear X-Force was taken off the schedule list, though.
Yeah, which wouldn't shock me, considering they had announced that like well before the Disney Fox takeover.
Oh, did it really? That far back?
Yeah, no. Well, it was a while ago they announced it, and I think it was around the same time they announced Deadpool 2, actually. But yeah, I mean, that doesn't necessarily mean anything. That might just be like Disney still figuring things out. Yeah, what was I saying about Phoenix Force? Oh, yeah, the one character I'm shocked that they didn't include was Mr. Sinister.
Yeah, they kept alluding to him, and then what was he even in?
Right.
Is he going to be in this?
I don't think so. I mean, I can't see any way they could naturally bring him into
it. Wait, or is he going to be in New Mutants?
I could see that, actually. I honestly, at this point, I really don't know. As far as I know, like, there were multiple actors who were considered for the role throughout history. There have been multiple references, like, throughout this whole franchise. Like, I think Logan actually gets a... there's a deleted scene from The Wolverine where he actually gets a suit from the Essex Corporation. And in Deadpool 2, the actual school for... or not school, but you know what I mean. The... basically the place where the young mutants are getting abused and converted or being told they're, impure or whatever.
Right.
That it's called like the Essex School, which is, his real surname, Mr. Sinister's real surname. So there have been references, but you have to wonder if that's just their way of trying to say, oh, hey, we know we're not including him, but these little winks to the audience, these should satisfy people. Well, I don't know if that's their way of just doing that or saying, hey, he definitely exists in this universe. We're going to show him at some point, and they just never got to that point. It's really just a massive gray area and a massive thing that the whole franchise has overlooked.
A massive gray area. Jean Grey.